Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Pre-Market Prep. As always, couple things I do want to remind you of, and then we'll get right in. Remember, stockstotrade.com/pre-market prep. And, you know, I try not to bug you guys too much about this stuff, but just remember, if you go to stockstotrade.com/pre-market prep, you can drop your email in, and you get a daily recap. So, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about OCGN. OCGN was a killer read several days in a row. You know, if you can't be here live, if you don't have time to watch, you know, the 15-minute video, the email, and the nice thing is, you know, again, I talk fast, I yell a lot. So if there's a link I mentioned, you know, maybe a book, maybe an article, the nice thing is those go in the daily recap email. So if I'm like screaming about something and you're like, what did he just say? The nice thing of text is you'll be able to actually read the stuff that I'm incoherently screaming about. And then the second thing is, remember, and remember that newsletter's free. And then stockstotrade.com/watch list. I pretty much remind you every Friday, just because, again, it's free, goes out every Sunday. So anyway, I like to remind you about the watch list on Friday. And remember, this is more of a swing trade biased newsletter, but stockstotrade.com/watch list goes out every Sunday. All right, let's get to work. Main watches for me right off the bat. So Skillz, you know, you guys, if you were here yesterday, I really liked this as a 945 dip and rip. Guess what never happened? Okay. And I know. A lot of you are like, Tim, I don't care about the stuff that didn't work. Give me picks. But the point is, what's great about these momentum movers, what's great about that dip and rip for a pumped up stock, whether it's Cathie Wood or Seeking Alpha or whatever the reason is, the 945 rule keeps you safe. Okay. And, you know, I talk about this a lot on the podcast. I try not to repeat it here. But, I mean, the thing is, if you blow up because you're trying to trade at the market open, that's what the 90% do. You know, 90% fail, 90% fail. Well, don't do what the 90% do. Okay. That's where I would start. Okay. If everyone hears about this colossally high failure rate. Well, if it was me, I would start looking to do what those people don't do, okay? And so many people get FOMO'd in pre-market, at the market open, and they get bagged, okay? So that being said, Skillz, I'm going to set an alert at 1950. Last 18, I'm going to do 1951. And Skillz breaking out. So again, I do love that Cathie Wood is in this. You guys know, all longtime members know that I have an extreme crush on Cathie Wood. But I mean, simple fact is, and I've said it a million times, she's had the hottest hand over the last couple years. So nothing but respect to Cathie Wood, and I hope she continues to crush it. And then other main watches for me, OCGN. Again, beautiful afternoon VWAP hold on Wednesday. Beautiful. I mean, this was like yesterday afternoon. They don't get much better. And here's the thing. Save OCGN from yesterday. If you're looking to build that chart portfolio, please print and save or screenshot or whatever the intraday chart of OCGN on April 22nd, 2021. Because when I say wait for the afternoon confirmation, there may be no better recent example. Well, BTX yesterday afternoon, it's a tough, BTX same thing. But anyway, I would say two plans: dip and rip, risk on VWAP, so a break of 11, risk down on VWAP, or you can just wait for that afternoon breakout as well. So, and I didn't get my notes going. Oh no. Bear with me. 4-23. Oh, and I get asked about the notes a lot. Geez, excuse me. I get asked about the notes a lot. You know, the cool thing about the Steady Trade team, you get access to everything. And I might have to sneeze. Live streaming. Woo! All right. For what it's worth, I did walk away from the mic. So if I blew your ears out, I did at least try and get away from the microphone. So, Skillz, love this, over 1950 on a Friday afternoon. And then OCGN, great dual setup. Because remember, well, maybe I should say remember, maybe you don't know, the dip and rip and the VWAP hold are complementary. So I say this all the time. Every dip and rip becomes a potential afternoon VWAP hold. So if, let's say OCGN dips at the open, reclaims 11, and spikes to 12. And let's say you miss it. Let's say you got to work. Whatever. Let's say you got something going on. If that morning dip and rip then hugs VWAP all afternoon, especially on a Friday, that's your VWAP hold high daybreak, or your ABCD, or your gun pattern, as many people call it. Dip and rip and VWAP HOD, especially on a Friday afternoon. Remember, shorts are going to want to be out by the end of the day, before the weekend. BTX is my other main watch, and this is a weak open red to green for continued squeeze. And then let's get to some Q&A. Afternoon, weak open red to green. All right, SYPR, government space contract, but tons of resistance. Let me take a look. Thank you, Diamond. Oh, I didn't see this. So this had news last night. Wasn't up enough to be on my radar. I mean, which is funny to say, you know. Still funny to say a move from 3 to 4, and it doesn't even show up on my scans because you just don't care. Yeah, I mean, you could trade the break of last night's highs. Okay volume, relatively low float, but choppy chart. Not my favorite. So look for breaks of last night's highs. Decent volume, pretty low float. Let me peek at this contract. I didn't look. I'm just going by your comments. Okay, here it is. Deep Space Program. You guys know I love space. I really think, and I try not to get too philosophical on pre-market prep. Many of you know my infatuation with the rocket age. You know, the post-war economic boom, the 40s, the 50s, that mid-century period, both architecture, technology, economic boom. I mean, space. If I could get a time machine, that's the period I would go back to. But anyway, I think we're entering a thanks to my boy Elon, which remember Elon does watch every pre-market prep. Old school viewers know that. Elon is ushering us into a second space age, which is so exciting. So exciting, man. And again, I try not to get too philosophical, but man, read Steven Pinker. We live in the greatest time in history. Now, the news, you know, the mainstream media, as they say, is doing everything possible to convince you of the contrary. There is a machine that is grinding to convince you to the contrary. Meanwhile, I will tell you, we live in the greatest time in history, and we're going into a new space age. So exciting. That being said, I don't like, why is there no numbers? Yeah, this is the red flag. So this is a red flag on SYPR. Well, when I say red flag, I mean just don't get too excited. Because terms of the agreement were not disclosed. Okay? Does that mean it's $50? Is it 50,000? Is it 5 million? Is it 5 billion? So that's my thing. Don't get too excited about SYPR. Always a red flag when you can't see any numbers or terms, etc. So, and when it comes to interpreting the news, we do that every day in Steady Trade Team. Check it out. Already talked about BTX. A lot of you guys asking about GGII. Guess what I'm going to say? So this was a beautiful textbook OTC gapper last night. Again, in the Steady Trade Team, I got my notes. I did a noon webinar at yesterday in the Steady Trade Team. 12:06 p.m. GGI over the VWAP in the 2 p.m. window. This is an OTC gapper. Then we talked about it in the 3:30 webinar as a textbook OTC gapper. So that being said, I hope it gaps, but I can't give you a read on OTCs in pre-market. You all should know that. That being said, this thing checks every box for an OTC gapper, and if you took it, I hope it gaps 5 million% and you crush it. But if you want to recognize these OTCs, you got to talk about them in the afternoon. You can't talk about these things in pre-market when there's no liquidity. Get in the Steady Trade Team. If you want to talk 3:30 p.m. every day, we go over OTC gappers. You can't go over them at 8 in the morning. Playboy, swing trade. Yes. Playboy is a NFT SPAC play. Look for breakouts. So I'm going to set an alert at 45. So Playboy breaking out. So here's the thing. Playboy is an NFT play. It's a SPAC play, but don't try and guess bottoms. Okay. And, cause I have I think Playboy is nothing but a momentum play. Okay. Which is most of our plays. Okay. I would be very, very careful. Well, I would never try and guess a bottom or try and dip by this. Cause at the end of the day, it's only moving because of the hype on NFTs. We're already seeing that hype on NFTs start to fade. And listen, I'll keep it professional. I always like to be as professional. I like to have fun, but I keep it professional. But I just have concerns about Playboy's long-term business model because I might be the first person to tell you this. You may not be aware, but if you've spent the last 30 years living in the wilderness and today is your first day on the internet, you stumble onto pre-market prep. So prepare yourself. But I've heard rumors it's like not really that hard to find naked people on the internet. Okay. I've heard rumors. I've never checked myself, but I've heard rumors you can find like naked people on the internet. Okay. So that being said, momentum play only. Once the NFT mania fades, once the SPAC mania fades, I think this thing just they probably go. Playboy's gone bankrupt before. They'll probably go bankrupt again. So, thank you, Renee. Renee Ramos gets the gold star for reminding me about AMBO. So I will finish on this. So AMBO, if you remember, this was that big runner earlier in the week on the super duper pumpy artificial intelligence plus Amazon plus remote learning play. So don't forget about, and I'm going to set another alert. This is it. So it just holds up. So please add an alert for AMBO at 260. Or I'm going to say 265. So it spiked on Monday and it's held up all week. This is exactly what we look for a Friday squeeze. Dubious company, super duper sketchy, But, I mean, look at that sideways, short, torturing action since Monday. So, as always, don't play guessing games. Look for that 265 break. Probably trade off of 250 for a risk. And wouldn't surprise me if you could retest the highs from Monday on AMBO. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Good stuff. As always, stockstrade.com/pre-market prep. You get the recap of everything. stockstrade.com/watchlist. Free weekend watch list on Sunday gives you something to read to get ready for the next day. Also, like if you're not on the watch list, I do a video with it too, where I'm kind of, talking about things to watch for the coming week. So, I mean, again, I know I bring it up all the time, but get it. It's free. You can always unsubscribe, If you're like, this thing stinks, you can unsubscribe, So, all right. Have a great weekend, my friends, and we will see you next time.